So thank you, Suresh, for being here.
Yes, a pleasure as usual.
Of course, it's your channel. It should be.
I like that.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
okay, let's start with this. I guess this would be what people would want to know is why do negotiations fail? Now, more specifically, what are the common reasons behind negotiations breaking down?
Okay, good. So every negotiation has two main reasons they fail. Number one, it's the negotiator itself.
Okay.
Okay, that means your approach, the way you start. Are you even prepared? Okay, so the negotiator in itself, the communication style. The second one is what we call perceived value. So perceived value meaning, does the other party you're talking to, negotiating with, see the value of your proposition? So if they don't see, then basically no deal, right? So the idea of when you go into a negotiation, it's you yourself understanding who is going to be on the other side, what do they want, what they don't want, what can I put on the table, what I cannot put on the table, and how do I create value for them to give me what I want, right? So if let's say it's a price thing, right? I'm a supplier, I'm going to sell you at that price. For you to want to pay me that price, what else can I put on the table for you? Now, if I'm a buyer, so like I train a lot of procurement departments. If I'm a buyer, okay, I want you to give me a low price. But what will make you come down low enough? What can I do to make it interesting enough for you? So it's value proposition.
Okay.
So the person negotiating and the value proposition.
But what about external factors? Like we look at, for example, recently the most talked about negotiation was the Sunway IGM negotiation, right? So in that situation, which also could happen for other deals as well, you have situation where you have external influences, external issues to cater for. So when you have a negotiation where you have external voices sort of coming up with opinions, what do you do as the person walking into that negotiation room?
Okay, so when you say external forces, so here we are assuming
Assuming,
because there's no real evidence.
No, but we do have external opinions, like that were shared as well.
Yeah.
Other people sharing opinions, and these are not just normal people. These are leaders, politicians, and all that. What should I, as a negotiator, when I enter the room, how do I even include these noises into my negotiation? Do I care for them? What do I do?
Okay, good. Now, in negotiation, we talk about you are either a deal maker or a deal taker. Okay, so if you go into a negotiation, you want to make that deal. The most important thing is about that particular party on the other side. So in IGM and Sunway's case, Sunway was pretty clear. They had their evidence, they had their set of data on our value proposition is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, good. Now, IJM, if I understand correctly, they came back with a particular number. You're talking about the share price, right?
Yeah.
So IJM had an idea of 5 ringgit plus. And so for Sunway, I think that was a bit too high. So they were like, based on what? So they came up with their data. There were two companies. I think one was Rothschild and one was M&A. Yeah? But these are people who are paid by IJM. Now, when they come up with their data, Sunway is thinking, okay, what do I do? So in this case, if you are worried about noise, go and get the data to support what you say and to support what they say. So data is the best. If not, you will always have opinion versus opinion. So if you're not sure what's going on, too much of noise, go and find out in the market, what does the market say? What's the data talking about? Use that data now against the other data. Now, data versus data, you get a very constructive negotiation. If it's opinion and opinion, it's conflict forever. If it's opinion and data will win. So in Sunway's case, they came up, I think, 3 ringgit 15 cents or something like that.
Around that.
So because I think there were about 13, 14 other companies that gave around that kind of a number. So when you have that kind of scenario, the external forces, you can say whatever you want, but if the data tells you that, then you use data. After that, if there are even other sources, how do you say you're a deal maker is when you can walk away. And that's what Sunway did. So this is the best that we can do. If you're looking for something else, let us know what that is. And if we can do that with you, great. If not, then we must be prepared to walk away. Now, interesting thing is, if 1 year from now, they call both parties back to the table, now Sunway will have an upper hand. Because when I give you this, you did not want. But now when the shareholders see that Sunway shares, let's say, are going higher, you miss the mark. So now if you're coming back to me to take over, because nobody else wants to take over, I have an upper hand.
So that's an interesting point because we've seen also cases where when there's takeovers, when there's discussions and negotiations like this, especially in that arena, sometimes, say for example, when I think it was Warner Brothers who wanted to sell, and Netflix made the offer, right?
Okay.
made the offer. Now, right before it was apparently supposed to be agreed or discussed, another offer came.
Okay.
So at this point, when you are the main offerer and suddenly a competitor comes in at the last minute,
Okay.
what should be my attitude? Should I immediately pounce and say, no, I will counter offer, or should I play the waiting game? What should I do?
Okay, good. So when somebody comes in last minute, these are all tactics. Okay. So urgency can be urgency can be a way for you to pressure the other side to give your price. Or it can also be, it can also work on, it can also give you a backlash. That means you totally lose the deal. People walk away. So if, say, suppose I'm going to almost close the deal, somebody else comes in, don't counter offer immediately. Understand what's going on. Understand, is it an apple to apple comparison or not? Get your data, then decide. Never, so I always tell my participants same thing. I say, when you are pressured for time, or when there is no time, ask for time. Ask for time. Now, if the other side feels it's a good enough deal, your offer is pretty good, and they don't want to lose you, because let's say like Netflix and Warner and another person came in. The moment you walk away, the person who is the one you're trying to close the deal with has no choice but to go with the other side. So they also don't want to be cornered by the other side, because if you only have one choice, you have no choice.
Yeah.
Correct. So I had I had that experience with a client of mine. I do a lot of negotiations as well for my business, and there were two particular, but our case was not last minute. Our case was both of us went in. There were 8 consultants, 2 got chosen, me and my counterpart. But somewhere along the way, the deal changed because this client had to. It's an automotive company, so they had to call back a lot of cars, and suddenly the budget had an issue. So they had to stop all other trainings except ours. And if we did not agree to their price, the story was then we will give everything else, Suresh, to the other side. Right? So they told me that. So I'm thinking, so they were very seasoned negotiators. So I said, okay. So first of all, my mistake. First mistake, I was not prepared while going for the conversation. So the story was, they called me up, Suresh, come, let's have a meeting. Training is going on already. I was supposed to train 5,000 people, and it was a 5-year contract, and we already had trained 800 people. So they called us in. So we thought, wow, they're very happy. They want to give us more business. So Suresh, being very naive at that point in time, went happily. So before you sembelih kambing or lembu, you feed them.
Do you?
No, I mean, you make sure they are healthy and big and all that. Like the Hansel and Gretel story.
I see. Yeah.
So you feed them before you sembelih. So scenario was, they came, very good treatment. They give me water and then chit chat and all that. Then we started the topic. They said we need to reduce the price. At that point in time, we already had given them below market because it was a huge volume. Now, when they used this thing about if you don't give us this price, and the price was from the below market, they went below another 50%.
I see.
So it did not make dollar and cents for me to continue. But it was a huge deal, volume. So now I have to ask myself whether I want to go for this or not. So what happened was, they said the other one is coming, Suresh, after this, and they're going to sign the deal. They already agreed with this number. So I'm like, are you serious? Same thing happened IJM, and not same thing, similar. IJM is not sure. So Sunway is not sure your number is correct or not. So either I get the fact from you, or I get it from the market. So for me, are you sure they agreed? They said, yeah, Suresh, you believe it or not, they agreed. I said, can I see the contract? Of course I can't show you the contract. He said, then that number. Okay. So they said, you have to decide today. Ooh. Before we finish, and I'm the CEO, right? So Suresh, you're the CEO. You can decide right now. I said, okay. So that's another problem. When you are the authority, you cannot use I have to talk to my boss. Right? So how do you get out of the situation? So some people think if you have authority, easy for you to decide. But sometimes that's a problem as well. So what I did with them was, I said, okay, yes, I am the CEO, but I need to talk to my team, whether this makes dollar and cents sense or not. So what at the end of the day I did, I said, okay, give me until tomorrow morning. Right? If you want the answer today, the answer is I cannot give you that price. But because of our 800 people we have trained, you know how we do work. It's easy to do work. The people are happy. Scores are high. And you're getting your results. So just give us until tomorrow morning. So never succumb to time pressure. Somebody else comes in, suddenly you have to make an urgent decision. That's a trap also. So if the offer on the table is really very good, just ask for more time. And then do a bit of study, do a bit of work, come back. Don't succumb to the timeline. Some people use that as a dirty tactic. They push you, and especially, for example, if you're flying to another country and you have 1 week, they will delay. They will drag it until you have to fly back. Because the people in your home country will be asking you, what's going on, what's going on? Oh, still not yet, still not yet. And you have to come back with a decision. So the other side, if they're playing dirty, they will drag, give you pressure, and then you finally, okay, fine. You give them very quickly your best price. So there's no real negotiation. You really go rock bottom. Lah.
No, but on that note, when you talk about this, the thing that's coming to my mind is Shark Tank.
Okay.
Shark Tank, Dragon's Den, right? And I've seen this happen, especially on Shark Tank, where, say, a business guy has now convinced a few sharks that his business is worthy of investment. Sometimes you will hear some of the sharks say, take my offer now or it's gone.
Yep.
Right? And before even the entrepreneur has the chance to listen to the other offers. So in such a situation, I always think to myself, maybe in that case, that investor is not the right guy because if I say yes to him, I'm creating a dynamic with him where I am inferior to him automatically. He knows he can control me because he has done it now. He's told me, regardless whether the other 4 offers are good, regardless whether my offer is good, you have now to decide. So in that situation, like what you were saying just now, should the person say no, even though they risk losing that person and listen to the other offers?
Okay, so what that shark is doing is putting time pressure right now.
But is that an indication of the person's, your working relationship with that person or that person's character or how it'll be after you agree?
No, that's just a negotiation technique. Because it is in the best interest of the shark to make sure you're successful. So if they're going to dominate your business, they don't want to dominate your business. They want you to do your work. They've got so many other businesses. But they want that deal and they don't want anybody else to interfere in that deal. So they say, I put this deal on the table. Right now, you decide right now, done, finish. The moment you open to the rest, because the shark knows it's a very good deal. And it does not want the other sharks to come in. So if you're a good negotiator, you will say, I would love to hear the rest. Then they'll say, okay, off. Off lah. So there's a risk you have to take. If you know your value proposition is good, then you will wait for options. You straight away take one, then you have no option.
So I guess this comes on to what you said just now about preparation. That means before you go in, you must know who's the investor, which one can help you the best, right?
Correct. And even actually in Shark Tank, the person who is coming, they already have an idea who they want to do business with. You know, a lot of them, they already know which of the sharks really will add value to the business. Right? And they will probably be looking for that shark to come in. Sometimes that's not the shark that puts the first offer on the table. You see? So you might even ask the person directly. If that person says no, then probably you will also want to find out why no. In a negotiation, average negotiators, one of the biggest mistakes average negotiators, salespeople, procurement people, HR, whoever negotiates, right? The biggest mistake they make is they counter too quickly. And they don't sit down and listen and identify what's the reason this is a no. And I always tell my participants, the moment you hear no, cannot, not possible, difficult, smile. Smile means welcome to the game. If it's a yes, no negotiation, no fun.
Spoken like a true Indian. But,
No, but serious. So I enjoy negotiations.
okay.
I enjoy negotiations. One of the negotiations I did was with India. It was a 1-year negotiation. And when they negotiate, they go for the jugular, man. I tell you, China and India, Dashat.
Yeah, they're very
So
serious.
we give them a number and they ask for an 80% discount with all the stories behind it. So it's if you know, and that was the first time we are going into India. We were with the Southeast Asian market for some time. But that was the first time we're going to go into India. Good for our brand, right? But if it's not going to be profitable, just for the sake of my name, I felt, and it was a 2-week gig. I'm going to train the whole country actually. Not 1.4 billion, but they also sold that story to me. Suresh, 1 billion people in India. And I asked them, am I training 1 billion people? No, but that's the potential. All these stories you leave behind. So that's what you will do.